Every Monday morning when we come in, we will give you live updates instead of posting them online. So on Mondays, you need to tune in. This is where you need to be. Heat100radio.com. If you have not already, download that free mobile app. Again, I said free mobile app. So let's get it rolling. Morning updates today for May the 14th, 2018. So we have Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals going on in the NBA. Yesterday we had Eastern Conference Game 1. The Celtics proved to be a nightmare matchup for LeBron. But on the flip side of that, LeBron says that he has zero concern or zero level of concern about the series and the fact that they lost and the way that they lost in Game 1. I kind of beg to differ about that, and I will get into that a little bit later on in the show. Continuing on with our updates, the Chicago Bears signed last chance youth star John Franklin III. If you are unaware of what that is, it's a Netflix series about football players who had troubles in high school who are getting a second chance to succeed in life. And kudos out to him. He has now been drafted and been signed by the Chicago Bears as a defensive back and a kick return. Tiger Woods finishes strong at the Players' Championship in the final round. In the NHL, we've got conference finals also. The Washington Capitals take a 2-0 lead on the Lightning in the Eastern Conference finals. And we've got Game 2 tonight for the Vegas Kings and the Winnipeg Jets, 8 p.m. on NBC Sports. The Winnipeg Jets are up 1-0 in that series. Okay. Lomachenko takes out Linares for the belt, his third title. He stopped him in the 10th round over the weekend. Also over the weekend, Daniel Jacobs outpoints Selecki. I cannot pronounce that first name, but his last name is Selecki, and if you are up on it and you watched it, you know who I'm referring to. Triple G says that there's a 10% chance of facing Canelo again. And Lloyd Pierce has been hired by the Atlanta Hawks as their new head coach on a 3-year deal. So we move into the NBA playoffs. Yesterday was Mother's Day, and again, I hope all the mothers enjoyed their day. It was somewhat rough, kind of like being out on a boat and you're in rough waters. It rained a little bit, then later in the day it started to clear up a little bit. So with all that being said, yesterday was Mother's Day again. I hope all the mothers that celebrated, all the mothers had a great day. I hope you enjoyed it. Getting back into the NBA playoffs, we had Celtics and Cavs yesterday, as I mentioned in the beginning of these updates. And the Celtics put something on the Cavs yesterday. The final score of that game yesterday was 108-83. The Celtics take a 1-0 lead with Game 2 coming up Tuesday, tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. on ESPN. Tonight, though, we have Game 1, Western Conference Finals, Warriors at Rockets, 9 p.m. TNT. And Game 2 for that series will be Wednesday, same time, 9 p.m., same channel, TNT. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this Cleveland-Boston game from yesterday. And I'm sure my partner's going to call, and he couldn't be here with me today, Baldy. Little Cuz played a great game yesterday, Bar. I know you're tuned in, so whenever you get your break, call me up and we can talk about Little Cuz, some of the comments he made, and how he backed that up yesterday. But more importantly, we're going to talk about this game in depth for some today. And I'm going to tell you, Boston, to me, I have to give them credit. As much as I hate you as a Sixers fan, and I can't really, I don't like the Celtics or anything, but I am a basketball fan first and foremost, so I have to give credit where credit is due, as always. And yesterday's game, I was a little impressed. Watching the Sixers series against the Celtics, I understand what they did, so I wasn't really that impressed as far as them playing. I was a little bit impressed with the coaching because I didn't know how good of a coach Brad Stevens was until that semifinal round against the Sixers, but I picked up on it, and he is excellent out of timeouts, and his game planning. I am envisioning that his film study is crazy. It's amazing because when you go back and look at the Sixers series, he pretty much took them out of their flow of offense. They were not able to smoothly run around all those picks like they were used to going into the playoffs. He took away our threat, our major threat, which was the three-point shot. And I think all good coaches do that type of thing when they're playing against somebody when it's in the playoffs, because you either win or go home. So, like again, I think now that I have a little bit more respect for Brad Stevens as a coach. Now, one of the things I wanted to mention about this game yesterday is the fact that I still think that the Sixers team overall, even with LeBron on that Cleveland team, I think the Sixers team is a better team overall across the board. And we were only really beat in that first game, in game one, like Boston beat Cleveland in game one. The other 4 games, we were in those series. I mean, we had leads. We had 22-point leads that we lost. And most of the games that we lost, again, except for game 1 of that series, it was a turn of the tide late in the game. So we were always in those games. Yesterday, Cleveland, in my eyes, were never in this game. They had one good quarter, breaking the score down quarter by quarter. They were down 18. They were down 36-18 at the end of the first. Okay, scoring in the second quarter, they were outscored 25-17. Okay, we moved to the third quarter. They outscored Boston 29-17. But Boston again made that up in the fourth quarter and outscored Cleveland 30-19 in that fourth quarter. Marcus Morris, second in scoring for Boston, who had 3 players in double figures, all with 20 or more. Jaylen Brown led the way with 23. Marcus Morris had 21, and Al Horford had 20. So that was the bulk of their scoring. No other scorer for Boston that played, except for Jason Tatum, scored in double figures, and he had 16. Now, we look at the scores on Cleveland. LeBron was held to 15 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds. Still pushing close to that triple-double. The next closest before him, actually, he was the second scorer. Kevin Love scored 17. Jordan Clarkson with 10 off the bench, and Rodney Hood with 10 off the bench. And like I said, I think that the Sixers team is better, or was better, than the Cleveland team. But Cleveland did what they had to do. They had LeBron James, and they proceeded on to the conference finals. But Boston, getting back to them, and like I said, I have a job to do, so I have to talk about them in a minute. But it's deserving, if you will, because like I said, they took away a lot of the things that Cleveland normally wants to do. Kevin Love, though he scored 17, a lot of those three-point shots that he likes to take were challenged. A lot of things that LeBron James likes to do were taken away from him throughout the flow of the game. They threw several bodies at him. Marcus Morris did a wonderful job on him. And people may say, well, he only still scored 15. Compared to what he had been doing, and we're speaking of LeBron James, compared to what he had been doing the last 4 games in the playoffs, maybe possibly even more, 15 points is holding him in check, if you will. And again, Boston has bought into what Brad Stevens has designed for them, his game plan, his mantra, if you will, his style. The team has bought in, and they have young guys, but they also have veteran leadership in Al Horford. You can even say veteran leadership in smart play and familiarity with the system and Marcus Smart. So they have what they need to succeed. Now, on the other hand, Cleveland, it's basically LeBron and everybody else. I don't know how Tyronn Lue is going to get himself back in this series. I honestly don't know how LeBron is going to get the team back in this series because, like I said, Boston is one of the better defensive teams in the league, and they're going to settle probably for LeBron getting 40 possibly, and they're going to force the rest of those guys to beat them. And you know, it also looks like they could do that either way. I'm figuring that they will do the same thing in game 2, run numerous bodies at LeBron, make these other guys play. But they want these other guys to beat them, but they're also not making it easy for them. Those guys still have to struggle. They still have to fight to get whatever they want to get. J.R. Smith yesterday, 4 points. Okay. Kevin Love, like we said, 17. Kyle Korver, 5 points. George Hill, who was supposed to be a big part in that trade, a big addition, 5 points. Jeff Green, who usually has decent games, 6 points. Tristan Thompson, 8 points. Like I said, Rodney Hood, 11. You know, Jordan Clarkson, 10. So we're going to see what happens with this Boston and Cleveland series. And I'm going to go on a limb here, and I'm going to say Boston in 6. Folks, the phone lines are open. I'm going to take a quick break, though, but when I come back, phone lines will be open. We will talk more about this game. If you have any questions, comments, we will also preview the Warriors-Rockets series coming up tonight. And we will also get into our Sixers talk, and I've got a couple other trending stories that I want to get to before the end of the show. You are tuned into SportsRap. It's your boy D. I'm here taking a quick break. Like I said, when we come back on the other side, phone lines will be open. And remember, the question of the day: who would you like to see as that high-level free agent addition to the Sixers next season? LeBron James, Paul George, or Kawhi Leonard? Stay tuned, folks. You're listening to Sports Rap, Heat 100 Radio. It's your boy D. I'll be back on the other side in a few.